Okay, 3, 2, 1. You've tuned in, we're not sure why, to Late Reg Podcast. Is that what it's called? Late Reg? We're late regging. You're late regging. We're late. Everyone's late. So if you're late,
No
you're
one's
fine.
on time anymore.
Yeah, no one's on time. We're all late. Although this summer I might be on time for some of my tournaments that I'm going to play. And here we're with Brian Rast and myself, Phil Laak. We're going to talk about this coming 2026 WSOP, some sprinkles before the thing comes in. Once it happens, everyone's in the first 2 weeks, everyone's going to be stuck and steaming and zombie walking. There's going to be like 4 people happy, and then everyone else is going to be drilled silly. So this is the pre-time where everyone's happy and coming with a state of euphoric optimism. So we want to catch you now while your heart is filled with joy and you don't hate poker. So that's what you come to talk. We're just going to talk. That's it, Brian. Yeah.
All right. So we came up with a couple topics of things that seem to be on the mind and the zeitgeist. And so the first one is a new rule that everyone, I guess, really is going to be able to participate in. It's this new dealer rating system where apparently on the app, I guess, you have an option to rate dealers as they come through the tables. Yep. So, Phil, what are some of your thoughts about this?
The first thing I thought of was an article I read a while back about how Uber doesn't need to have bosses to the drivers, because the true bosses, or the like filtering concept of who the good drivers, bad drivers are all the customers. So they offloaded the driver performance to the customers. And it's kind of a catch-22, because now, I mean, it's not a catch-22. I guess it's really business savvy, because now they don't have to do the work. They get all the population to feed them. And by and large, I've talked to Uber drivers and they go, oh yeah, if anyone's like below a 3.5, 0%, they're taking that ride. They know that that person has drilled annoyance down the throats of many previous Uber drivers. And once in a while, a guy said, I'll experiment to see if I'm right. But no, they're the worst. They're going to give you a 0. They are zeros. They're going to complain, say loud, angry things in the car, leave, they'll spill coffee, all this stuff. So I think when I thought about this with the WSOP, initially you're like, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because it might be nice to say, well, this person, their pitch was too high or whatever, blah, blah. But it also feels kind of like dirty and behind the back and sneaky. There's like something weird about it. Like we're going to tattletale. And what's really going to probably happen is somebody gets a bad beat and they're like, yeah, 0. This guy delivered the 2 of clubs to give that guy the flush. Like, I don't know, maybe AI can sort it out. But there's definitely some people that when they deal, you're like, wow, I wish I could give this guy a raise, and you give him a tip or something, or you just see him and that's one of the best dealers ever, So I do want to add a funny story, which was one time a dealer was dealing, right? And the players were taking a long time to decide. And I thought it was very funny because the dealers the dealer in this instance got really angry that the people were taking so long. And I thought that's fascinating, because as a dealer, you're getting paid the same, whether it's 4 hands an hour or 40 hands per hour. Nothing changes, and you actually do less when people take 4 hours per move. And I thought it was funny that this dealer was like angry that things weren't moving along fast enough. And I thought, oh, that's funny. Like, she wanted to cook. She wanted to deal. She was like, I came to deal. Now all these people are thinking this isn't fair to me. I just thought that was like a funny thing. But how do I feel overall about it? Ambivalent. I don't know if I don't know if they can take the data and do something good with it using AI and whatever. Maybe give raises to people that just got 5s all the time. Like, people were impressed, and maybe they do get a ton of 1s and 2s on somebody, and we're like, well, maybe we don't put her at the final table.
It might be more like an outlier selection thing that ends up going, because like maybe dealers that are really bad will get more bad ratings. There's a lot of stuff like that people are talking about this. I have kind of a take that I haven't really heard anybody say. And you brought up something that's a good counterexample. So Uber, as an example of something that's different, it creates a good, reliable rating moment when you wrap up the transaction. Because like eventually with all these apps, whenever you wrap it up and this and pay, it'll ask you to rate, it'll ask you to tip. Yep. And it's kind of like, then you're done. The problem with this is that there's not really a good moment for that, because like it requires you to proactively go in your app in a
Yep.
spot you don't need to. So like,
Yep.
especially, dealers will come in and out. There's no close moment. So in order to like rate your dealer, you have to proactively like go in. There's also even potentially, I'm thinking like a timing situation where maybe you wanted to rate somebody and will that moment have passed? Will
Yep.
sometimes wrong rating go to the wrong dealer because someone wanted to rate somebody from an hour ago? Can you still do that? I mean, there's a whole bunch of potential or let me call like definite issues with the way that this will play out with selection bias, right? In other words, somebody will proactively go in if they're like, don't like the dealer and they're like
Yeah.
going to rate. And maybe if someone really likes the dealer, like the new way that you would tip them in a tournament situation is by going in and giving them a good rating.
Yep.
But for the most part, there'll be selection bias because there won't just be like everyone else who's not in their app rating. So that's kind of problem number one. And then, so I'm a little bit like you. It's an interesting idea. I'm not sure if it's really like practically speaking going to work in a good way, but it
Yep.
could be a good tool just to see like, because there'll be some dealers that are awful and probably like really get a lot of bad ratings. And it might just end up being a good way.
To
Not,
filter
not
some.
so much. Yeah. It's like when you go into the Uber rating, you expect with a reasonable level of accuracy there to be like the differentiation between a guy that's like a 5 and a 4.8,
Yep.
a
Yep.
4.4, and whatever, because there's just thousands of ratings from people. There's not going to be that kind of accuracy with this, but it might just be good in like the bottom 10% who have a whole bunch of low ratings with people
Yeah.
like makes mistakes, this and that, and not like, oh, they dealt me a bad beat. But
Yep.
and then they'll just be like, well, we shouldn't hire this person, or like you said, not put them in big spots.
Yep. And I just want to add, to be very clear, this phone app to get into tournaments and get your table trained is like the first year I used it, it wasn't a 5x better experience, not even a 20, it was like 1,000x. You're like, wow, this is like this. It was so good. It's so good. I mean, you're going down the escalator and you find out where you just go right there. There's no waiting to get the ticket. There's none of that waiting to in the line to get your little seat thing. It was 2 lines, get the ticket and then get your seat. That's all compressed into a magic moment on the escalator. By the time you get to the bottom, it tells you where to go. Breakthrough. And also, anytime you sit at any table, you can click and see who, there's nicknames a lot, but you can click the other button and then find out what their real name is, and you can hand and mob it, and you just see this guy's a killer from Russia. I've never seen him in my life, but he has 4 million or 10 million. They've done what it is the best thing in the world for. So if this thing doesn't play out to be a good, whatever, it's like when you get 100, you're allowed to downtick 1% somewhere else.
Yeah, but no, that's what I'm saying. It might not end up being a great rating, but it might end up being just a good way for them to filter out the really bad dealers in one form or another, whatever they do with that, which is actually, that would be a kind of a big deal.
Yep.
Because for the most part, I mean, the bad experience is when like the dealers make big errors, right? And then either then like the floor needs to get called in and this, and then, people get super salty about some of those spots too and whatever. And also just, it slows down the table. So yeah.
And one last thing on this dealer topic. I can't wait till the year, I don't know, 2028, 2058, whenever it is. I hope I'm around. If the longevity guys can give me a nanorobotic pill to go to the year 3000, great. There will be someday where dealers in America deal like they do in Europe, and Europe dealers are the best. You take the deck and it's like almost like, the deck, each card slides off flat. There's no pitch. There's no gap to see. There's none of that. Oh, this seat 6, it's a little higher. None of that stuff. Just flat. You've seen it. You've been to Europe. It's crazy. It's like, why don't, yep. Change takes time, but I can't wait till that's like standard in America, because it is the greatest.
That's also that's the most important stuff too, because I mean, that's where someone actually just has let's call it a unfair edge. If like cards are being exposed and, I mean, now it's like someone's seeing multiple cards that they shouldn't, and you're playing with them and all that nonsense.
Yep.
That's really the worst stuff. Anyway,
now
that's a good segue to, I'm moving a topic up that I think is a better segue from that one. Number 2, the topic, because you got into this with a bit of a side conversation. I'll call it the incremental improvements at the WSOP year over year. So you talked about one, which is these technological improvements of now we're at the app. Actually, there was like a mid-stage one where before the app, which actually was last year was the first year, there was the ability to register at the machines instead of
Yep.
going to the cage.
Cost
Which
$3.
I did that for
Me too.
Yeah, actually, I didn't do it for a little while because I was making one of these. Sometimes in life, you feel like you need to make a stand. And I
Yep.
was like, why are they taking my $3? And then as this literally happened. I was showed up and I didn't have a lot of time and I had to wait a little bit too long. And maybe I didn't run fast enough over to like the 50K reg. And I literally missed, they cut it off hard because someone had complained because like a week earlier, they were letting people in and people were getting in too late into the start past because of the way it worked out. And so they were like super hard cutoff this time. So I was like the second person who just missed the cutoff. And I realized after that, I'm like, wow, because I want to save this $3, I just cost myself this miss on the late reg here. So I went to the machine and they were like, oh, you don't use the machine. I was like, no, I'm making a hard stand up for myself, save $3. So then then after I started using the machine, I realized how much time I was saving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would pay $10. Like I
would pay 50 sometimes on even a 1K because you're like, wow, this just cuts out all this. But what the app did is it cuts out that machine. There's no $3 charge. And even after you pay the $3 with the little machine, you got your ticket, whatever, you still have to go and stand in a line that sometimes was, I like those Colossus, Millie Maker, Monster Stack, 20,000 people, $400. Like I love that stuff. I mean, with the maniacs and all the fishermen are out there. But damn, those lines would be like paralyzing sometimes to just get your what table you're going to. Like it was a double paralysis. So yeah.
So we have this incremental tech improvement. But then, and I know a little bit more about this because like every year, the WSOP makes little changes, right? There's little things that change. Like some examples, like they do change what tournaments. Now there's like Badoogie. They sometimes change what's in the mix. They'll change the tournaments in the dealer's choice. I can give you a few examples because over the years, I've submitted a number of things to Jack Effel. Like I used to think, and I think a lot of other people felt this way, there was like really crazy money payout, like weirdness in the bubble to the WSOP main event final table. Like, I don't know if you remember this, Phil, but it used to be like, two tables, like 18th place would get like 200,000. And it was this crazy ramp up. And it'd be like $500,000 for 2 spots. And then like a 500K or 400K bubble to like the final table spot, which was already crazy because those are the people that are making the TV final table. It's the biggest jump. It'd go from like 600 to 1 million. And then the next 400K jump wouldn't be from like 5th to 4th.
Yeah.
So it was like this totally crazy, like actually really kind of badly designed. So like I submitted this to them. Maybe some other people did too. Jack ended up changing it, like stuff like added no limit single draw to the 50K PPC. I actually also submitted some 50K PPC changes because it used to be the case in that tournament where day 3, like the beginning of the tournament was way too slow and like nobody would bust on day 1 and not many people would bust on day 2. And then like 80% of the field would make day 3. And then by the end of day 3, you were in the money. And it was like the fastest day ever. And I'm just like, this is retarded. So, or whatever. I guess you're not supposed to say that. This is silly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we don't want to get canceled. We're only on our
first. So whatever. So we took out a few levels right at the beginning, added some double levels that ended up kicking in right around the money bubble, and it kind of even the turnout. So that's just a few examples of stuff I know because I was involved in. But Jack is taking suggestions from all kinds of people, and I would say, and I'll kick this to you in a second, there's just a lot of incremental year-on-year improvements for a massive tournament series with like all these games and all these different kind of tournaments, but they are working hard to try to improve the product. I don't know. What do you think, Phil?
I think they're crushing in improvements, slaughtering, destroying, unparalleled leaps. Like it's ridiculous. And know about some of the more, what the structure, I don't even know. I just, whatever it is, I just accept. I figure there's always a smart person trying to improve it behind the scenes, which is always happening. So I don't do any work there. I just do the enjoying part. But yeah, it is so much more easier to enjoy the WSOP than ever before. Knowing, how about even when you table change? There's none of this whole, where the guy throws a thing to each person and then no, you just you look at your phone. Oh, that's where I'm going. Oh, and those are all the names of the players. Oh, nicknames. Okay, well, I know how to get their real name and whatever.
Oh, and they're even changing rules because people would shark their table and sometimes unregister, and they're like taking. I mean, obviously, not that we ever did that, but people were doing that, and they've changed rules to like prevent that, and they're always working to like defend and fight against all the stuff that people do.
Yep.
So, yeah,
Yep.
it's. I think they do. Listen, obviously, you compare it to something like Triton. Like this is totally different. Triton's these massive events with very small fields where even though it's the percent maybe isn't crazy, but it's a large amount of overall rake because there's 100K, 200K,
Yep.
$1 million buy-ins and whatever. And so it's kind of not really fair to compare WSOP to that. But for something where, they're putting on 10,000, 20,000 people tournaments and, 150 or 100 and some odd bracelet events, plus all this other stuff that's going on there. I don't know. I mean, listen, it's not going to be as luxurious as Triton, but they do a good job. I enjoy it.
I want to add one thing. I've never been to a Triton, but I saw the video describing their new clock system. If you play fast, you get credit towards your. I was like, this is the most.
The chess clock is the sickest idea.
Beautiful, pure. Now I don't know how much effort it took to execute that, but damn, that seems so luxurious. Yeah. Oh,
I can't wait till that filters to the WSOP. It's going to take time. Triton's going to do it and this. And one of the other problems is I'm sure there's a large amount of dealer training because there's probably a lot of shit. Maybe they even the tech with the tables or I don't know. But at some point, I'll be very excited when it filters over to the WSOP because obviously from a fairness standpoint, everyone who plays poker, it understands it's like the guys who just always use like just 20 or 30 seconds.
They're tanking to destroy your cognitive equanimity. They are in there, they're building a wormhole into your brain. It's not about they need extra time. These are the smartest people. They have plenty of time. Online, they have to make their decision in like 10 or 15, I don't know what it is, 10 or 15 seconds. And then time bank, like by the time I don't know, everything is slow mo. And a lot of these guys don't know that when somebody else
it's not all because of that, Phil. To be fair, there are two very important reasons that are. Listen, I'm not saying they should do it, but
from the hip, that's not really what I.
Reason number one is that in any spot, if you want to be like fucking tight poker player, okay, you need to think like if I have a decision here, how long? Like, don't think what's the longest I'll ever take because then you'll be completely ridiculous and unreasonable. But like in general, if I do have to think about something, what's a pretty good normal amount of time for me to have to take here? So for example, like you have aces pre-flop and you're going to 3-bet some dude who opened from the cutoff and you're in the small blind. Like what is normally if you have like the ace 10 off or something where you're going to have a decision, maybe you're going to like roll to randomize it, whatever the fuck you're going to do. And that takes you 10 seconds or 15 seconds. You take 10 to 15 seconds with aces, right? Like stuff like that is, I think, like very reasonable to do because now you're not just giving off timing tells because you act instantly when you know what you're going to do and not when you don't. So that's number one. Two is there is actually edge. Like, man, have you listened to like the best kind of modern GTO thinkers get into the weeds when they like do range breakdown analysis?
I tried to, but I can't do it.
I'm going to take 30 full seconds to really think through this spot. There is stuff that like you could think about if you really wanted to start from first principles, like look at the range construction of both players. Then say
I play with people that don't do all
what they want to do.
You play 100Ks. You play genius $1 million, all the wizards and stuff they need to. I play guys that they have pair of eights. They're just going to call any bet. Like they're just going to see if they hit an 8. Like it's simple, like the people I'm playing with are not. So when I go to the World Series and I'm playing a serious event and it's happening to me, I just think I can't wait till the Triton clock comes because this guy needs to be punished.
Well, I'm just making the point. There are good reasons why players might take a lot of time. Now, the counterpoint, and the point I think that is more important than that, is that you have to sometimes operate in public social situations from a bit of a golden rule standpoint of like, if everybody did this, would anybody fucking play this event? And it's like, if everybody took their maximum amount of time to like think through and make the very best decision they could at every point during a hand, and every hand took 10 to 20 minutes to play, no one would fucking play poker. So at some point, right, you have to like cut into your personal EV at some level in order to like make it playable for everyone else. And it's a bit of a give and take. And some people take too much in that situation, obviously more than they should. And the point is the chess clock removes all that.
Yep.
You know, like you now are rewarded for making fast decisions. So
I have a t-shirt idea that just came to me, and it's a t-shirt that says, I am the rake back. Because sometimes I play so terrible that I realize, wow, these people are coming for these moments where it's not like, oh, we're adding prize money to the, no, Phil's at your table. And if he loses his mind, there's the rake back. You just, it comes in a lump. But I don't know. You're not supposed to do any self-affirmations that are not really strong and positive. So if I write on my shirt, I am the rake back.
It's okay to be self-depreciating.
I don't know. It might be a little, I don't want to become a source of continued rake back. I don't mind the sporadic little drizzle, but like, I can't just faucet it on all the time, you know? But anyways, okay. Next topic. Yeah.
Okay. So next topic. Okay. So this one is, what do we think should be, if Phil and I were designing it, should be a WSOP bracelet? Do you like that any event from anywhere and online stuff is all bracelets? Is that cool? Is it even good for the WSOP? I'll let you go first on this, and I'll
okay, my opinion is sort of still comes down to, if you were the one that spent $500 million to buy WSOP and then owe them $500 million, because I think it was some deal like that. It was either $500 million, $250 million down, $250 million later, or $500 million down and $500 million later. It was a lot of money. They paid the money. So ultimately, I believe that they get to say bracelets count, whether they're in Prague or Atlantis or online or whatever. So that's the capitalistic thinking thing. But now, how do I feel? I feel like the online ones are a little like, well, ghosting or whatever, where you call your friend or you put a Zoom thing onto the computer and you have a wizard helping you because you didn't expect to get to the final four.
Technically, that's cheating and against terms of service. But
of course, we'll call it cheating. Yeah. So it's a lot easier to cheat in an online spot than, so maybe online bracelets should count for 70% of a bracelet or something. They should call it, like, if you have one real one and one, it's 1.7 bracelet. I don't even know how you would measure it, because but most people don't cheat. I mean, people do cheat, but most people don't, so most bracelets won online are just people that won it. Their girlfriend's asleep in the bedroom and it's 4 a.m. and they finally click the last hand and they're like, they wake up, the girl, I won the thing. Nobody's in that room with them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know what the ratios are, but it's very hard to cheat at a final table with real humans in slow motion, real life, without the privacy of your own office. So I like that. And Atlantis and whatever, grow the brand. If you're a DGen, you don't care. You'll go to Atlantis, you'll go to Prague, you'll go play, like, whatever. So
that is why they do it, obviously, because it gets more people to go to those, because they get to win bracelets. And actually, it's easier, right? Because those tournaments are smaller, so you're more likely to get a bracelet. I don't have a strong view on this.
Yeah, my final thing is, I believe, yes, they can have bracelets or whatever, and I actually think it's fine when they do a 4. There was somebody complaining a while back because another event came out and it only cost, like, I don't know, 4. It was the lowest one that came in, 350 or 400. And I was like, that's fine. Why does a $400 bracelet lose? There's so many more people in there. It's like an army. You got 10,000 people versus, 400 people for a 10K or whatever. So I'd like and think, I support the idea that a bracelet should be awarded for even a small or high, whatever. The online stuff, I think we just tolerate it. You can't do anything. It's like the whole thing. If you think, I don't know, this might not be true, but I feel like WSOP, GG, they're trying to make it great to funnel people to GG, their app, which is fine. It's another money-making thing, rake, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So Yeah, online is a real thing. We're in the 2026 now. There's internet. You can't. I think you just got to accept it, and then you can look at the guy's stats, and if he has 5 bracelets and one's online, you're like, okay, so in your head it's like 4.8 because his online. I don't know. You're almost. It's almost easier to play at your house. I don't. I'm saying not cheating, just regular because there's less distractions. You have your little thing. Oh, you got a sweaty T-shirt. Just change it right there in front of the monitor. It doesn't matter if you want a drink or what. There's no walking around to the bath. Everything's right, easy and convenient. So in some ways, I don't even know. I'm just kind of rambling. I think I'm fine with it. Have bracelets, make them small events. It's fine. Atlantis, whatever. The online thing, you just got to tolerate it because we're in the day of information and internet. I think, right?
So
Like,
first, your take that it's their capitalists, right? Listen, I am mostly a free market a free market guy who, is believes in that, and I agree with you that it is their right.
yeah,
But I do think there's an interesting conversation to be had about what their right is versus what is the best decision for poker on the whole, and
yeah,
why I think that is important. Let me present the following kind of like argument or thought experience. So a lot of the World Series of Poker's value, a lot of the value prop and the moat that they have in the poker world is basically by being the premier kind of flagship poker standard,
yep,
right? Of like the long time that it's been running, the tradition, and a lot of this goes hand to hand with treating these spots separately and kind of evaluating them from a fairness and best for poker standpoint.
yep,
And that is not the same thing as we are a corporate entity that wants to make money and we're going to do the best for that. And what I think is, and this is both an argument as to maybe what I think the WSOP should try to be some of the time, as well as you could even make it like there's always an argument in politics and business versus what is the immediately best decision versus what is the best long-term strategic decision. And
yep,
I do think that if the WSOP wants to maintain this situation that they have, then they do need to, not just approach every decision from like, how do we make the most money out of this? But also as like, hey, we're leaders in the poker world. What is the best thing for poker? And I would say, I don't have a clear take on the bracelet thing. I do think that,
You
some of
mean the
these online
online bracelet thing? Is that what you're saying? The online bracelet thing or the bracelet thing? What when you say bracelet
if I
thing?
was going to rank them, I think the online bracelets are like the least bracelety, probably like live events from Europe or whatever are like semi
Yep,
bracelety. And I think some of it just has to do with we've come to a point where you expect you're going to go to Vegas and you're going to play an event. And if it's $1,000 no limit hold'em tournament bracelet, you might have to go through, thousands of players. If
yep,
it's a mixed game event, if it's smaller buy-in, it'll still be hundreds of
yep,
players for sure. And if it's a bigger buy-in event, it could be less, but now you're talking about some kind of prestigious event, either
yep,
like 100K no limit, you're still going to be 80 guys, but they're all crushers you're putting up, and they're a big 100K tournament, or like the 10K Raz. Okay, it's like the only big Raz tournament in the world every year. And yeah, it might only be like 90 or 100 players, but like it's kind of its own special, championship event, right? So there's a bit of a standard with this, whereas, you go to Europe and now you do have a live tournament. So it is live poker, but if it's a bigger buy-in, you might only get like 30, 40 guys. So
yep,
smaller buy-ins still well under 1,000. And if it's a mixed game event, it could only again be 30. So it's like not really beating that many people. And then online, sometimes online you get these spots where it could be a small no limit event with like $300 buy-in and it's still only like 300 players. So it's like you didn't even win any money for like winning the event, and it's a
yep,
bracelet. So I don't know, like it does cheapen the value of a bracelet, which even though they are promoting their events and maybe getting more people to go, but you're also kind of cheapening it. I don't have a I don't have a strong take on it. Because
I
it's
just
not
love
clear
that.
to me also that it's like a good for poker thing to like differentiate what bracelets are. I do think when you look at someone's Hendon or whatever, and you see what you do look at what bracelets they won. And if
Yeah,
you're like, oh, this guy won the main event, or this guy won the PPC, or this guy won the
yeah,
10K PLO,
that's
you're like,
more
ah, that's a
sizzle.
real.
Yeah.
That's a real fucking bracelet, and
Yeah,
everyone
that's
knows
more
it.
sizzle
And
than like, because some of these
yeah,
online bracelets are only like, I think in a WSOP bracelet ring event or something on the I don't even know what it's called, the WSOP app or whatever. Maybe they're not taking Utah residents or Florida residents. Maybe it's just 2 or 3 different states. I don't even know what it is, but it's not, the world can't just come. You can't be in Belgium and play that event. Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
it's like geographically limited by the locality of the rules and stuff. But yeah, it's just, I think we just have to just be okay with it because it's the world we're in. But we all know that it's the
I think
main
so.
event you want to get. You want to get the PPC, you want to get the money, but the cheddar's fun. But some of those titles would be super scintillatingly pure, you know?
Yeah, I also don't think this is a spot where, doing it this way is like bad for poker. It just means that, as time goes on and you evaluate, like what someone is, bracelet
Yeah.
count isn't as big, isn't as like, just
Yep.
the number of bracelets isn't as material in 5 years
Yep.
when it's all easy to get these, but you have to look and you have to
Yeah.
granularly like look at someone's record and, okay, it's these bracelets, or I don't know. So that one. So the next topic number
Yeah.
3.
Next topic. Next topic.
So also kind of a WSOP thing. So this year, Player of the Year for the first time is not just Las Vegas; it's also Europe and Bahamas.
Yep.
What do I'll start? I'll start with this one. I'm a person who I don't play. I've been playing a lot more tournaments the last few years, and actually for the last 4 years, um, for the first time in my career, my WSOP focus has been going and playing tournaments, as opposed to like mostly playing cash and sometimes sliding in a few here or there. So like I'm not trying to win the Player of the Year, but it is something that's on my radar, and it would be nice. Like that said, personally, I don't love this because I'm never going to go to WSOP Europe really, and probably not Bahamas, although that's at least a possibility. Definitely would be if I was somehow in the running for Player of the Year
Yeah.
after the Vegas WSOP.
Right. If you get a lot of
So
points, you go off. Yeah. Yeah.
I don't love this change, but I do actually like two things about it. The first thing is that for the first time, the WSOP has put like real monetary incentive behind winning Player of the Year. It's not like your banner's up and you get like a buy-in to the main or whatever the hell it used to be. Now
Yep.
it's like there's hundreds, whatever, of thousands of dollars of giveaways of
Yep.
whatever. And this is actually a pretty decent way to promote and get more people to
Yep.
especially go to the WSOP Europe. So even though personally I don't like it, I makes sense to me. That's
Okay.
my
To
general
me,
take.
here's my take. I actually
Mhm.
love it for a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
One is anyone who's close or getting to or piercing through events and get these people are, it's like an acid test of how sick are you really? Are you going to go to different countries to attain this thing? Because that's what you have to do. If you start getting closer and closer, you're like, wow, look at these points. I should go to yes. So it's the ultimate test of the diehard sick degen. I need to see hands. I need to like, it's kind of christening you with, yes, not only did you perform well here, but your sickness levels, your degen, your claw, your want, whatever it's called, is so impenetrably strong. You've left your family to go pursue. Like that's, I think it's perfect. Yeah. Make it, go to
It's
Mongolia.
also
Go,
like a loyalty reward. It's like, do
yeah.
you fucking love the WSOP? Are you going to come to Europe to try to get the Player of the Year?
Yeah.
Then we'll reward you.
Yeah.
It all counts.
I kind of
So
like it.
Sean Deeb's over there, they're doing his thing, and God bless him. I'm okay with it too.
Yeah.
Even
Anyways,
though
what's the,
I personally, I'm not. So then the last one,
yeah.
the last topic, we had this WPT Gold situation last year where they,
Oh yeah.
competitor company threw up crazy incentives on winning a bracelet that skewed the payouts by quite a lot for people involved. And the WSOP obviously had to do something about it because, right, I mean, a competitor kind of like basically used a promotion to fuck with their shit. And it's like, we got to do something about it. So, they made some rule changes, and it looks like they barred these guys for life. So again, what do you think about this,
Okay.
Phil?
First of all, I've played in games where I won't mention names, but like somebody says something very, very out of pocket and not necessary and mean to a dealer or this or that. And I've seen bar people, if they're a super fish, they get barred for a day or a week, or somebody's trying to poach players from the casino for their home game. They might get barred for a year or two. But in all, I don't think there's even that guy who pulled his pants down at the WSOP and got barred from the casinos, and he threw his sneakers on the table. And then later that day, he was at a different casino downtown doing the same thing. I actually feel like, I mean, I don't think any ban should be for life. No matter what, you done the bad thing, okay, heal, think about it, take some time off, and let the corporations figure out how much that time is or whatever. But I feel uh, like Jesse and what James Carroll with those, I think were the names of those fellows. Yeah, bar them, whatever. But like they are like poker players, and you have to accept that the poker player prototype isn't just, it's a mix of it's humanity, because it's a fun game and and if somebody does something bad, I think, yes, punish them or something, or do something, but welcome them back into the pack, because we're all just in the asylum, and it's, we're all just insane that we love this. It's like, so put him in solitary confinement for a little bit, but then let him back out into general population. I'm a big believer in no ban should be for life. And yeah, I also think it was very weird what happened there, and it wouldn't have always happened. Sometimes the incentives are you just play, but in the incentives lined up so that, wow, they probably knew when they were doing this, we might get banned not just this year, but forever. Like, but it's like an extra milli ball. They might have thought, oh, you know what I'm saying? So I don't blame them, but and is the punishment right? I don't know. You're the corporation, do as you please. But I don't think lifetime bans are the solution. I think like some sort of, so yeah, they're really, I read that. What's the new rule is if they feel whisperings from the winds, they're going to shut it down early or something. Like, how can they see it beforehand? It's always going to be after you see the hole cards and you realize what they're doing. Oh, they're trying to get that promotional money from another casino. So, yeah, some sort of barring, but I don't think it should be lifetime. I don't know.
So this is what I think. I do realize that it is very important in a spot like this for the WSOP to protect their interests. And in this case, it's the, man, this term is eluding me as we speak, but it's really kind of the competitive fairness of situations, in the tournaments. Now, I would just mention the following kind of counterpoint. So one, my understanding is that these guys, and just in general, nobody at the final table did anything untoward while it was multiple people, right?
Correct.
So it's not like these guys were cheating in a situation that really took EV from somebody else, which, by the way, is really bad.
That's terrible.
It was more a situation where they got down to heads up, where the EV is between them. And now, also, like, the thing you have to realize is these guys were put in a super fucked up situation by the WPT. Like, the WPT is the real culpable party here, because these two guys are just in a promotion, and they get to heads up, and one guy can win an extra $1 million.
And even though, and here's the crazy thing, if your net worth is 100 million, you're like, no, I'm never doing that because I love being a degen at that casino. But if your net worth is $10,000 and you don't, let's say, gamble a lot and the casino's not important to you, you might just think this is the most snap, easy decision to do this of all time. So then there's the in between.
Yeah, right? like we play it out, and it's like, we're playing a sit and go for 200K or whatever it is, and you either get like fucking 800,000 and 600,000. I don't remember the payouts, but it's like, or we make this agreement, because, by the way, also the WSOP doesn't allow chip chop tournament over, right? But this happens all the time at the end of tournaments. Like, theoretically, your heads up, you'd be like, we'll just chip chop it here and like play for the win. Yeah. Right. It's like, oh, we're chip chop and then, play for the win. Or actually, the WSOP does allow you to make agreements. They just are out of it. Like, you have to trust your other party and whatever. Like, they won't divvy up any of the money. So anyway, the point is, these guys kind of make an agreement between them, and want it to play out a certain way, because instead of getting 800 and 600, they do it the other way and they have an extra million to chop. I mean, it's a pretty insane situation.
Right. What is the level? Okay, Rast, how much money?
And they're not taking away anyone else's EV, which I think is really important. And so because of that, I think I agree with you that, listen, even though I understand the WSOP needs to do something to protect the integrity, that's the word I was missing, the integrity of their tournaments. It's also like, really, this is on the WPT. These guys and no one involved was making like these decisions to fuck anyone else. They just, when it got to heads up, they made a decision that was clearly way better for them. That was because another company did. And so it's like, yeah, they should probably be punished. Lifetime ban, though, seems like a little
aggressive for people that love poker and play all the time and love it.
You're just not understanding like what an insane spot it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like like we do it this way or we do it this other way. There's no difference in harming anybody else. And we do it this way, we get an extra $1 million. Like a lot of people are going to do that. And that's actually
quick question.
Let me say one last point. A lot of people might do that when there's multiple people left in the tournament. And that's really bad from a competitive standpoint.
Yep.
But I just think there is a distinction to be made that when they're heads up doing it is less bad than when it's multi-way. Anyway.
Yep. Now the question is, it's a I don't know I forgot the name of the thing. It's like a hypothetical, I guess is the word I'm looking for. In a hypothetical situation, what do you think in order for over 70% of people in that environment, in that spot to take that path, what would the minimum net worth, like if people are worth $1 billion each, they're not doing it. If people are worth 5,000 each, they're going to be very like, oh, look at that. And if they don't play poker a lot, oh, look at that. If they play poker a lot and they love the WSOP and all stuff, they'd be like, I'm not so sure. I'm wondering, like, how high does a person in general, in the general population, what do you think the average net worth and the average number of poker hours per
well, it makes sense for most people to do this, even if they knew they were getting a lifetime ban.
Most people aren't super rich.
$1 million is a lot to most people. And you're like, let's say it's like chopping it, whatever the fuck they're going to do. It's like, basically, will you take $500K to never play in the WSOP again? I mean, most people are going to say yes.
Yeah, most people would say yes.
Most people will say yes. Even most people at the WSOP would say yes. 500,000 is a lot of money.
What do you think the highest net worth person would say? Yes, still, yeah. Is there a billionaire out there that plays semi-frequently that would just be like, oh, 500K print, not go there again? Fine. Are there people out there like that would just say, oh, snap 500? Even
maybe only if the billionaire was already considering not doing it, but probably would still not do it in this spot. But if it was just a private and someone was like, I'll give you 500 to never go to the WSOP again. I mean, maybe if they were already like kind of quitting poker, sort of. But I guess at $1 billion, though, you're not you're just like, nah, no one's going to pay me. Like,
no one's going to pay you to not go play poker. It's like,
because when you have $1 billion, it's so extreme on the like using money to determine what you're going to do with like a decent amount of your time. Like maybe you don't play a ton of poker, but let's say you play 5 WSOP tournaments a year. Think about how many hours that is over the next decade. Like, why would you ever take 500K to like have someone influence like what you're going to do with that many hours? You're probably never doing it.
Yep,
the math, the billionaire math is so like foreign to
the bottom line,
everyone else. But
true. And so here's my final summary on that. I understand why they did it. I see that a lot of people would have done it. I believe the penalty was a little too extreme. They should get, maybe 3-5 year life ban, a 3 to 5 years ban, not like lifetime,
5 years seems pretty solid.
Yeah, I don't know. But also I feel like we have to do something in the future to prevent this weird thing of, oh, this other company is offering a promotion within this company. Like what, there has to be some sort of way to solve that. Maybe isn't there? I don't know.
I think, maybe that's actually why the WSOP goes with a lifetime ban. Cause I think like they can't actually stop other companies from doing this.
Right.
So the one thing they can do is basically be like, we're going to be so draconian with our response that we're going to affect our players from not doing it. Where you know what I'm saying? Because the difference between a 5-year ban and a lifetime ban
for a mind warp. If you had,
actually that's part of the maybe that's part of the argument as to why, like, from like some kind of moral level, it's like, do we feel spiritually that it's fair that they got a lifetime ban? Like, no, but it's not. And it's actually, okay, great. They waited till it's heads up and they took this, and yeah, it's bad, but should it be a lifetime ban? Like, no.
Okay.
But it's like the WSOP needs to protect the integrity, and maybe that's how they do it. It's just like,
I just want to throw out a very weird thought bubble question potential.
Yeah.
Let's just say there was an insane person worth like 100 billion. Are there people worth 100 billion? I guess probably. Like, how much is Elon? Okay,
Elon
let's just say
definitely over.
Let's say you're only worth 20 billion. You're a broke billionaire. You only have 20 of them, and you decide, ooh, I don't like that people gamble. So what I'm going to do is make an announcement, wide and large, and say, everyone that can prove they played the WSOP in the last 3 years, I will pay them X dollars to not play this year. I'm going to give all those people $100,000. I wonder if what's 10,000 times 100,000? Like, that guy could then find, there's probably 7,000 or 8,000 people that might be like, wait, what? I can get paid 100,000 for not playing this year by proving that I played it last year? Question mark. What? Is that true? And then they find out, oh yeah, this person's insane and thinks gambling's bad, so he's trying to pay you to not gamble. Like, that would be a weird thing if some guy worth 20 billion decided to use, 10 of his billion to throw a promotion like that. That would really throw the numbers wouldn't be around 10,000 entrants. It would be a lot of 100,000.
But see, Phil, this person, you just told a story, although I guess it was in the last episode. But if you guys had watched our previous episode about how you learned the lesson of paying Antonio,
yes, that's shopping, right.
And you were like, I'm never doing this again. And so it's like the billionaire could maybe do it, but then you're like, whatever that number is, 10,000 times 50,000, and you're now paying 500 or 50 million or whatever the fuck it is.
I'm gonna do the math.
Get random people to like not do something to like fuck over the WSOP, and at some point you're just like, why would I ever do this? Right.
Right. That's 500 million.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah. That's 500 million. So if you have.
Yeah, you can easily afford it, but then
you can afford it. You have 20 billion. You're only
but it's like
you haven't spent $1 billion.
Probably better things you could do with 500 million.
That's true.
Like, you could solve real problems. Not just like pay gamblers not to like.
I'll tell you this: if I had $20 billion, I would never do that. What I would do is say, anyone who cashes the World Series of Poker this year, I might incentivize them to go play and just sprinkle free money into the pool. If I had 20 billion, it might be fun to do that. I always thought, wow, if I had 20 billion. You could just have a $1 million added weekend tournament whenever you wanted, and it would be a blowout success because there'd always be an overlay. They'd be like, yeah, that rich guy's insane. He's giving money away. I don't know. Just random thoughts. I'm not going to be the guy because I paid 100 once to have Antonio come to a bathtub shop with me, and it was a mess. And I realized, I learned, you don't pay people to do anything you want them to do. You don't do that. So if I became worth 20 billion, I'm not going to sprinkle.
This thought experiment is somebody speed running the exact opposite lesson from your your story.
Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in to Late Reg, where we are late to the reg and you are late to watching this, which is fine. Everyone can be late now. We have technology. It's asymmetric communication. We build something, you watch it later. We can be dead in 100 years and you could still watch this. That's the beauty of the Matrix,
So hello from the past. I hope our robot overlords enjoy our podcast and spread it to all the people who live in the little matrix pods. Okay. Little battery packs.
I just hope they let us play poker when they take over. Okay. Bye guys. Thank you for tuning in.
Ciao from Brazil. Peace.